Mm. Hello and welcome to a new episode of the Success Grid podcast with me, Hussein Talib. I have a special guest today, Sonya Morton-Firth. She's an entrepreneur, speaker, a transformational coach, and physique athlete. Sonya Morton-Firth is the queen of transformation and host of the Sonya Morton-Firth Show. Sonya, welcome to the grid.
Welcome. Thank you so much for having me on your show. It's lovely to be with you. I'm sitting here in London, or standing here in London. But
Awesome.
yeah, thank you, Hussein. Thank you for having me.
Awesome. Welcome here. So, tell us a little bit about you more, about your childhood, because I hear you were born in Newcastle, I think, right?
Oh, I was born in Newcastle. Now, let me tell you something about Newcastle.
Are you a fan of Newcastle Football Club or?
Of course. You can't be born from Newcastle and not be a fan of the football.
Yeah.
But actually Newcastle, and I love Newcastle. You know, I was born and bred there in the 70s. And I guess that's where my journey begins, of course. And in the 70s in Newcastle, it was quite a difficult place. It was very much a place where being brought up by a single parent family was difficult. As well, I was a little bit darker than your average person in Newcastle because my mum's from South America.
Oh, cool.
So I got a lot of bullying in the schoolyard. Now, at that early age, I decided to stand up for myself. And I would be this little feisty girl in the playground, like sticking up for myself and saying, come on, say that again. I'm not condoning violence, but what I think it taught me was to stand up on your own 2 feet at a very early age and not be a victim. Because so many people in life let life get to them and go on through life saying, it's not my fault.
Yeah, I know what you mean. If life knocks you down, you should get up. You never should stay down. And like in the movie Rocky, I'm sure you watched Rocky.
One of my favorite films. You've got to keep getting up, right? And it's each time you get up that you grow stronger. And I think this has been it through my life. So I grew up in Newcastle, loved it, left, and I was always told I would never amount to much. I was okay at school, you know. I was never a straight A student, and I lived in the light of my brother, who was straight A student, PhD from Cambridge, super intelligent, and I was just okay at school. And I was constantly told you could do better, or you know, stop, concentrate, or stop being a rebel, and all of these things. And it was at that stage, my father decided to get me some career counselling. And I remember very distinctly going to this career counselling in London because he wanted me to be somebody, you know, when I grew up. And I was told by these career counsellors, you'll be lucky if you get a degree, you know, you really shouldn't aim too high in life.
These negative people.
These negative people, but actually, you know what? I found a benefit from it. And it's when you look back and you can see that actually there are certain events that change the course of your life. And I think this was one of them. Because by somebody telling me I couldn't do something made me even more determined to go and do it. And I did it. And a couple of years later, I graduated with distinction, with a very good degree, and started my career in the city of London in the finance world, which is probably one of the top paying careers that you can go into.
Yeah.
And I did that for 15 years. And I didn't just do it. I was really good at it. I was a successful, driven career woman in a man's world. And I was literally all around the world setting up businesses for the rating agencies. So my clients, asset managers, were trying to break into various different markets. And I would go in talking about why they should have their funds analyzed. Which, you know, could sound like a very dry subject. And to be honest, it was.
It is finance, and these, because banking and finance, it's really, it's more than dry. It's like a desert.
like
It's
watching paint dry.
it's like a desert. It's kind of like a desert. Yeah. So and, you mentioned people in when you were in college or at the time. You mentioned some people wanted you to increase your productivity, let's say, or your marks or your grades or something like that. But because I see actually the students who are in college that actually let's say get the C's, right? The C's
Yeah.
students. I am a C student, but actually I am a D student, not a C. So, so, but
I'll say congratulations.
but I was very good at school, but when I got into university, I didn't really care about studying because it was like uh, I am going to pass anyways, whether I get four GPA or I'm going to get two GPA. So it didn't really matter to me what GPA I would get. This is what the idea in my head, Yeah, and I did eventually. And
Yeah,
yeah, sorry.
I look back and think, well, all children now, people are saying, go to university. Now in England, you have to pay for university fees. When I was younger, it was free. It's not free anymore. But really, what education do you get? And I look at it now and think I would have rather somebody taught me the skills to be an entrepreneur. Now,
Yeah,
some of those skills are very difficult to teach, but I don't think we can pigeonhole people in a box and say intelligence is this route. It's school, it's university, and then it's a job.
yeah.
Why is that the right route?
I
That's the
think
right.
yeah,
That's
definitely. It's I don't know. I think it's okay and it's not at the same time. I think because maybe I guess school uh, it grew into popularity like 100 years ago when the industrial revolution kind of started. They wanted people to know certain skills and they started to teach them and make them learn certain skills. But nowadays in this era now we are in, it's completely different. You can go now online and be your own boss. Of course it needs time. There is a lot of thing into entrepreneurship and business. It's a complete thing. But let's talk about your journey now, how you transform your life from corporate to being an entrepreneur.
and Hussein, sorry, just to pick up, you're right. It's so much easier nowadays to become an entrepreneur. We have the internet, for example, and there is so much more information. You've got social media; it is very easy to set up. But I'll go into more detail about that during my journey. So basically, I did 15 years in the finance, in the banking industry, and you know what? It was good. It got me a lot of money. On paper, I was very successful. But I can tell you, I lived for the man. I lived for the corporation. I
Yeah.
slept with my BlackBerry back in the days. It was a BlackBerry. We didn't have iPhones then. And I slept with it by my bedside. And I used to wake up at 2 in the morning because I used to deal with New York on a regular basis.
Mm.
And I would be there on my BlackBerry at 2 in the morning. I remember not taking a Christmas holiday because I was working on a big deal and I worked through Christmas Day. And you know what? They don't give a, excuse my French, they don't give a shit.
Yeah,
They
yeah, they
don't
don't.
care.
Yeah.
They don't care. Nobody cared. And it wasn't until the age of, it's like a cliche. I woke up at the age of 40 and thought, wow, what have I got in my life? You know what? I've got pretty much anything that I want to buy. I remember walking into a shop in New York and looking around this beautiful clothes shop and thought, wow, I can buy anything in here. I'm not even thinking about the cost of money. But that meant nothing because I was desperately unfulfilled.
Mm.
I really was. I didn't have a relationship. I didn't have children. Not that was something that I've ever sort of strived for. But I just really thought, my God, is this it for the rest of my life? Am I going to wake up on my deathbed and this is it? This is it for the rest of my life. Me working for somebody else, doing the same job
Yeah.
in and out, waiting for the weekend. That's all I was doing,
Yeah.
praying for the weekend.
Yeah, that
Wow, the
sucks.
weekend, great. And then
Yeah.
getting to Sunday, because we have weekends here is Saturday, Sunday, then getting to Sunday and having this sinking feeling of, oh God, it's Monday tomorrow.
Again.
I don't want to work. And I'm sure you understand the
Yeah.
same. There's probably a lot of people out there that are watching this thinking, oh my God, I'm not alone. I feel like that too. Well, it got to that point where I thought I've just got to do something about it. And I did. I resigned.
You resigned, just went there and resigned without even starting your own venture?
Yeah, I did. Now, I
Okay.
didn't do it in that second. It took me months to get up. You know, am I doing the right thing? Do I do this? Blah, blah, blah. But I did it, and I didn't have anything else to go to. But I knew I had to do it. And it was at the point where I was very passionate about health and fitness. So I knew I wanted to retrain as a personal trainer. That said, I knew I didn't want to become a personal trainer, but I thought maybe there's a business there. And I was always quite business minded. And I remember people writing in my leaving card at work, some birds aren't meant to be caged. There's a great entrepreneur waiting to get out. And, and so I did. I left. And look, I'm going to tell you now, it wasn't easy, especially if you were in the corporate world as long as I was. I was institutionalized. What does that mean? It means that it had become, my life was my work were my friends, everything, my pension, my surroundings, the routine I got into, getting up, onto the tube in London and going to work, everything was around my work. So to suddenly take that out and make the transition into being an entrepreneur was it was hard. And the hardest thing was getting my routine together. And it took a few months of me really trying to figure out what do I want to do next. And anyway, to cut a long story short, I met a business partner. And as I said, my passion was health and fitness. And we launched a brand of glamorous fitness wear for women.
Cool, awesome.
It was awesome. It was a big challenge. Believe you me, going into the fashion world without any experience and also launching a brand taught me so much. I mean, everything from the marketing side to stock levels, to how to do everything online, to managing staff, to managing your own hours. All of it all came in at once. And 2 years down the line, I was in overwhelm and I'd stressed myself out. I got very burnt out. I was working 24/7.
This is what happens when you are an entrepreneur. Basically, it might be easy hours and low hours, like Tim Ferriss says, the 4-hour work week, and it might be the 24 hours. So yeah,
I think it takes time. You know, I've read Tim Ferriss's book, and he was somebody that I in my early days looked at. But I think, you know, if I look back at that, it's and it's a great book, but it takes a long time to get to that point. You know, now I can say I've got, you know, a 4-hour day, but I think you have to earn. It's difficult at the start, and you have to expect that the hours are going to be long at the start.
Yeah.
You can't just jump into a 4-hour working week. It doesn't. I'd love it to say. I'd love to be able to say that happens, but it just doesn't. And it does take hard work at the beginning, but you also have to really align yourself with what you are doing. And this is where I think I'd made a mistake, and I put all of my money into this venture, and that's another mistake. So actually, I left. I sold my shares to my business partner because I burnt out. But at the time, I did feel a failure. But I look back now and realize that was another turning point to my life. I needed that low point to make another breakthrough. And I did, and it was at that stage I started my bodybuilding and started competing.
That's a whole different story, because you went from a business that's let's say in the health and beauty or fashion into athletic physique, a whole competition, a whole different world. And you apparently did great, because like you mentioned, you look amazing, and you are a big fan of fitness. especially maybe for women, I think, maybe, or
Yeah, look, I completely believe there is a link between the physical body and the mind. And if you're serious about being an entrepreneur, you have to be fit and healthy. I mean, you just look at Steve Jobs, and we all know the story of Steve Jobs. Who wants to be a billionaire and die unhealthy? And he died way too young, and he died, and he actually said, in his biography, that money doesn't buy you everything. Health has to come first. And I'm
yeah,
a great advocate in that. If you don't have a healthy mind, now I don't mean go out and be a physique athlete, you don't have to be that extreme.
yeah,
But treat your body with care. Treat
yeah,
your body like it is. It's a temple. And that goes for everything you nourish it with, and you move your body, exercise,
yeah,
and that helps the mind. Oh my gosh,
exactly.
more than anything, it really helps the mind. And you know what? The most successful entrepreneurs can govern their mind,
Yeah,
and the
exactly,
mind governs the body. It's all linked. I
exactly.
honestly believe you cannot be a fat, unhealthy, successful entrepreneur
Yeah,
unless you want to die young.
Jim Rohn used to say, I heard some of his talk. He always says that if you neglect your health, you neglect your wealth. So it's
Oh my gosh, and that's so so true. I mean,
yeah,
nothing replaces health, and it's quite simple. It's getting some sunlight. I mean, we're not that fortunate in the UK that we have sunlight, but it's taking your vitamin D.
yeah,
It's getting enough rest, and I'm going to say that again for any entrepreneur that's watching this. Rest is as important as anything else. Getting enough
yeah.
sleep really helps, but also moving, some sort of exercise every single
Yeah,
day. Get that into your
that's
routine.
necessary. Exactly.
Absolutely.
So, what in your journey to your business and your physique and all these things, I believe they came at the same time, some of them. So, and you being a coach, what is the thing that you find most important in business? What is the thing that you focused on mostly?
I believe, I'm now into my second, third. I've got a property business as well. You have to be in alignment with your business. And if you are just setting up a business for money, it's not going to work. Now, people may argue with that and they may say, well, money's everything. Money isn't everything. Money is important. And I'm not saying money isn't important, but align your business with who you truly are. And what do I mean by that? I mean, find your true purpose. We all have a unique gift
Mm,
inside. I honestly believe each one of us is born to do something. And it might take us 10 years, 20 years, a lifetime to discover what that thing is. And look, I've been through several transformations: career woman, health and fitness entrepreneur, fashion brand, bodybuilder, property investor. Now I'm a host of a channel and a podcast, and I'm also a mind and body transformation coach. You can reinvent yourself 100 million times. It doesn't matter as long as
yeah.
you keep growing.
Yeah, progression is important. Not
Progression is
not
important.
yeah, not perfection, progression.
But I love that. I love that. I'm saying no. I love that. Not perfection, progression. I'm going to steal that. I'm going to write that one down. I like it. I like
Yeah.
it. Um,
Okay.
so, and that is honestly the truth. I think the most successful businesses are those that are really aligned with somebody's true purpose,
Mm.
and getting the and this is fundamentalist too, is learning to relax, leading a balanced lifestyle. Now, it's very difficult when you're an entrepreneur. We've always discussed that. When people say, "Oh yeah, it's easy to get a balance," it's not. It's not. But you have to make the time. Make the time for your health,
Mm.
absolutely, and make the time to relax. And when I say relax, I don't mean watching the TV. I don't mean that. I mean
Keep watching Netflix.
you're watching Netflix. When I mean by relaxing is just take a step back, let the stress go, take a walk. We've got beautiful places in London full of nature. Go out in nature, meditate. I'm a great believer in meditation to help as well. Because when you've got a busy mind, you're not going to make sensible business decisions.
You need some time to try, let's say, to empty some certain things and maybe restart like a computer does, and delete all the things and start fresh and
Well,
build on
actually,
it.
what you just said is very true. We need time to delete a lot of things and restart, because the majority of us have got so many limiting beliefs that our business doesn't work because of the limiting self-beliefs that we have inside us. So exactly what you said, Hussein, sometimes we need to stop, empty the limiting self-beliefs and press restart. Now, that's not as easy as all that, and it takes time, and it takes a lot of personal growth, a lot of inward reflection, letting go of the stuff of the past, and letting go of those limiting self-beliefs that are telling you that they're either telling you can't do something, or you shouldn't do something, or whatever it is that you know, and you know, because it's a pattern, it will become a pattern. Identify that pattern quickly, and just take a moment to stop and really think about, where is that coming from? What are the limiting self-beliefs that have got you into this pattern? And then let them go. Let them go. Learn from the past and let it go. Don't keep going on it. Don't keep repeating the past.
Exactly. You have, like we said, it's a progression, because, for example, when someone starts a business, there, especially now, it's like we said, it's an online, but you can start online and easy to go online. But at the same thing, there's a lot of things to do online. You have like your website, for example, the social medias, which are now like, I don't know how many social media platforms are now, like hundreds. So, what would you say to someone who wants to start a business? Where should the focus go? Where should they start exactly?
Well, obviously it depends on the business that you've got, but I would certainly start on yourself. Why are you doing this business? Get really clear on your why. And, you know, Simon Sinek talks about your why. And I, you know, some of the things he says is that, like, well, we might not all have a why, but you need that clarity in your business. You need that clear vision. It has to be crystal clear. Because you know what? Along the way, people are going to move you from one path to another. And, you know, you can't plan for every single thing in life. Let's face it, none of us planned for COVID. And we've all our plans gone all over the place. So you have to be flexible, but have the clear vision written down. Know what it is you're trying to achieve, and know why it is that you want to achieve that. And the why, if you've just written, because I want to earn lots of money, forget it. Forget it. It's got to be a bigger why.
A bigger why, and I believe it's going to be more specific. Go as specific or detailed as you can, right? Because if you want to make money in general, you're not going to make it probably. You need to be more specific, right? In detail. So I want to make certain amount X by the end of whatever. And if you can get more detail in that, that would be even better, right?
What I do is I visualize what I want, and I write it down in the present tense. So write it down as though you're already doing it. So see it, explain it, and then feel it. Feel it like you've got it there already. Really feel it, get the energy, because it's the feeling that creates the result.
Exactly. Because
when you
awesome. Because
when you're so I was going to say, when you're coming from a place of joy and you're feeling good, then you're going to attract the good things.
Exactly.
But if you're super stressed and you're working, well, I don't know how to get to the next step, and you're worrying and you're over anxious and you're overthinking, then it's going to become much more difficult. So have the clear vision, write it down in the present tense, and feel it, and look at it every day. You know, read it and look at it every day. And then just take one step at a time.
Exactly. So it's important visualization, because you mentioned if you can't reach a certain point when you do your vision, and it's in your head, and you keep repeating it in your head, you will someday, when you plan it, you mentioned writing it down, for example, one day you can jump and go beyond it, right? For example, yeah, or whatever it is that you want to do. So yeah, it's very important visions, because nowadays some people always mention like, I know what I want, which is in general ideas. I know, but actually, when it's not written down, for example, it's not going to be, if it's not on paper, it's not going to stick in reality.
And I honestly believe it's actually pen and paper and writing it down. There's something about the action of writing it down that frames it in here. And honestly, I've gone back through my goals of the past, 5, 10 years since I've been into writing down what it is I want. I'm like, wow, I've done that. Great. And
Cool.
and you know what? There is something that we tend to do as humans. We tend to over exaggerate what we can achieve in 1 year
Mm,
and under play what we can achieve in
and
10 years.
yeah,
And
exactly.
that's a Tony Robbins expression, phrase, I think.
Yeah.
But it's amazing if you go back to the last 10 years and really think about all the things you've achieved, you'll be like, wow, that's amazing. But yet when we come to the beginning of the year and we think, what do I want to achieve this year? We write everything down and then we get stressed because we haven't done it all.
Mm.
So, be very realistic as well with your goals. I mean, I sometimes don't like the word goals. I think it's been overwritten. And look, goals can be something we're constantly chasing. I'd rather say standards, set your standards.
Yeah, I love that. This is why I have my slogan on the website: "Raise your standards."
I love
Yeah.
it. Yeah, because it's so much more about the standard than the goal. The goal is something that you may never achieve. The goal is you constantly chase it, and once you get there, you may not be fulfilled. There's always another goal. But if you have a standard that it's like me. I have a physical standard for my body. I know every day I want to train. I know I've got a standard for what I put in my body. I have a standard for how I want my home to look. I have a standard for my financial situation. I have a standard for everything in my life, and it's important to have standards. And everyone's standard is different. Your standard may be different to my standards, and usually those standards come from our values, what's important to us. So, for example, I've never, unfortunately, I've never had that urge to have children and be married. So that's not one of my standards. But it may be for another woman. That might be a standard that she wants. So we all have different standards.
Yeah.
So it's important to understand what is important
Yeah,
for us.
we go here back to the why that you mentioned, actually, right?
Yeah. Why? And knowing, and I think this is important because we can also, we can take this back to the parents. You asked me about the beginning of my journey. I told you a little bit about my childhood, but I think too many of us are living the life of our parents that our parents wanted us to have, or living the life that we think society tells us we should have. How many of us are actually living the life we were born to have?
Yeah.
If you think about that, we've got one chance at this.
Yeah,
There's one
we are
chance.
we are going to, yeah, everybody should do whatever they want. You want to start a business, do that, because like you mentioned, we are going to live once and we are eventually going to not be here anymore. So
Yeah, well, it's about taking risks in life, but it's about taking the right risks, about taking calculated risks. So, I told you my story about leaving work. Now, I had some finances behind me, so I didn't just leave work without any money. I had savings. I've now got a property portfolio as well. So financial independence is very important to me. That's one of my values. Might not be a value to everyone else, but it's important to me. So you just got to figure out what are your standards to live. You know, my standards to live, I like to live in a nice location in London. You know, I live in London, but there are different areas of London. I personally like to live I'd rather live in a smaller place, but in a nice location than the big place in the worst location. So we've all got our different our different things in life that we value. So identify your values first.
Exactly.
That's what really counts. Identify your values first.
So, what would you say one takeaway from this episode? Like maybe you mentioned the last one, it's the values.
I think if someone was watching this and they were thinking about, let's say they were in corporate life and they were thinking of maybe leaving to become an entrepreneur, really ask yourself why, what it is that you want from your life. Taking away your preconceived ideas, taking away the voice of your parents, taking away the voice of society, taking away what social media actually tells you. What is it that you actually want? Why is it you want to be an entrepreneur? And really think about that why. And when you get clear about that why, write it down. And I think that if you really understand that, because it's not an easy ride, we both know it's not an easy ride. Don't go into it. It's an easy ride. So you have to have clarity, you have to have determination, and you have to have strength in knowing that your why is strong enough. Exactly. That you're going to be able to put up with any challenge that comes your way.
This is how it would your business or whatever someone's doing, it will be successful by confronting the obstacles and overcome them. Because like we mentioned earlier, if you are knocked down and you stay down, nobody will reach anywhere. You will stay where you are.
Yeah, I mean, look, there's a great expression. I think it's an expression from the Buddha. Pain is inevitable, but suffering is a choice.
Yeah.
Right.
Exactly,
yeah. So I would say that, you know, if you're down, like I was in my business, the fashion business, I could have chosen no, carry on, but I was bringing myself down so much. But I didn't. I thought, you know what? I've learned my lesson. It's great business experience, but now it's time to move on. Don't stay in the pain for the sake of it. You know, be determined that know from your heart, is this something I really should be pursuing, or is this causing me pain?
You should always try to push yourself more and more and more and more. So where can people get in touch with you, Sonya?
Oh, Hussein, thank you. Well, I have my own show, which is called the Sonya Morton-Firth Show. Please go to my YouTube, give me subscribe, like Hussein more. You know, it's all about the watch time. It's all about people looking at your shows as well. And also you can find me on Instagram, the Sonya Morton-Firth Show, LinkedIn, my name, Sonya Morton-Firth, and Facebook the same.
Awesome. Well, thank you for being today with me on the Success Grid podcast. Awesome episode. Thank you.
Saying thank you. It's been lovely talking to you.
You too.